See, fuel price has gone up because the international price of crude has shot up. The fuel price in India is linked to the international product price. And the price of petrol internationally went up to almost $89-90. Now it has come down slightly. The international price of petrol and diesel used to be almost equal, but now in the recent past, what we've seen is that the price of petrol has become much higher than the price of diesel internationally. So the oil companies fix their price based on the product price, and therefore the price of petrol has been high. And now it's a little bit stable for the last few days, but then we have these 15-day rolling average kind of a system. So we expect that if the international price cools down a little bit, then things would be better.
Right, sir. But sir, from the government of India's perspective, are we going to see any rebate or anything as such being mulled?
That I won't be able to comment because price, as you know, is totally fixation of price is with the oil marketing companies. It's based on a formula. Taxes are there, which are by the respective state governments. VAT is there, and then certain taxes on the central government side. And from the ministry side, we don't really intervene.
Okay. So if we talk about the oil strategic reserves, that is also yet one thing where a lot of development was expected, where the government has been also working on looking at an alternative strategy in a form of a public-private partnerships. Is that something on cards?
Yes, we are working on increasing the reserves here in India. So we have to create more capacity. And that capacity can come up in the private sector, it can come up in the public sector. Our own refineries can set up more capacity. Government can make investments and set up more capacity. So government has already created capacity for storage, which takes care of about 9 to 10 days of our current requirement. We have plans to set up another capacity to take care of roughly 12 days of our current requirement. Besides this, refineries also have storage capacities. There is some storage in the pipelines also. And the total storage which is available in the country as of now is a little more than 70 days of our current requirement. And we want to take it a little higher. We are working on it.
Right. So one important question, and this has to be on, of course, BPCL privatization. That has been the talk of the sector now. So with 2 waves of COVID, I know this is a matter that's actually handled by DIPAM and Finance Ministry, but if I may ask you, if we talk about the timeline, despite 2 waves of COVID, is the process still on track?
Yeah, the process is on track because it's a slightly lengthy process. The bidders are there, DIPAM handles, we don't handle, and then there's a transaction advisor. So we don't interact with the bidders at all from our side. From this ministry, we just provide support as and when it is required. But what I understand is that the whole process is on track because you can imagine that the size is huge. So therefore, the bidders would need more information. They would have to form their consortiums. They would have to then comes the stage of price bid. So after that, then evaluation would happen. Then the company assets have to be valued also. So all that it's a lengthy process which is currently going on, and we are working with DIPAM on this.
Right. So FM had mentioned that they aim to complete BPCL privatization this year itself. So you're telling me that's on track despite 2 waves of COVID?
Yes.
Okay. So one more question is about ONGC has also written a couple of request letters when it comes to the gas pricing formula. Is the government planning to change or rework on the APM gas pricing formula?
ONGC has been writing to the government requesting for a change in the formula, because they've been saying that the price of gas which they are getting currently is below the cost at which they produce that gas. Now, this formula is linked to some of the international indices and benchmarks, and it covers the 6-month period prior to the period for which the price is fixed. So therefore, the current price is fixed based on the price which was there sometimes back when the international price was very low. So the current price is quite low. But then as we move along, and the international price has also gone up. So in the current formula also, probably in the later periods or parts of the year, the price would go up for ONGC also. So they would be a little more comfortable even with the existing formula. But then in the long run, again, if the international price goes down very drastically, and then their price also goes down very drastically, that's what they are worried about. So they've been writing to us. We are examining their request to see if we can have a relook at the formula. The other side argument is that this gas is mostly going towards priority areas like, say, fertilizers, production,
right,
and power generation, and also city gas distribution, piped natural gas going to homes, and CNG, where we wouldn't like the price to rise too much. So it's just a question of trying to balance.
Got it, sir. So one last question before I let you go, and that has to be on ethanol, which is yet another priority sector that your ministry has been working in. And I must say that's a lot of achievement on that sector. We have seen when it comes to the blending target and how it's proving to reach to that step of an alternative fuel. Is the government planning on increasing the blending, keeping in mind that the process is really pushing on well?
We've had very good success during this year. The blending percentage, as you know, last year was 5%. This year, we are going to cross 8%. In fact, in the current months now, last month also, this month also, the blending percentage is over 9%. But previous months, it was a little low. So the average is now coming closer to 8%.
Right.
And we hope to procure about, say, 340 crore liters this year against 173 crore liters last year. So currently in the country now, the petrol being sold is almost all 10% with 10% ethanol, which means that it's all E10.
Yes.
And then the target is to reach E20 by 2025, which we will certainly achieve. And next year, all the petrol sold in the country would be all E10. And then gradually we will move on to higher blends. We've also introduced E100 already,
right,
and it's being dispensed in Pune. The motor vehicle manufacturers have to now make vehicles which are compatible with E20. So that's what we are now looking forward to. And as soon as that happens, we will start rolling out E20. The target is, we've already notified that we will introduce E20 from 1st April 2023, and then keep ramping up so that by 2025, all over the country, it's just E20. And then we would have reached that stage, and parallelly E100 would also be there. At that stage, we would be procuring something like 1,000 crore liters of ethanol,
right,
which is worth, say, 50,000 crore rupees every year. So we are generating economic activity worth that much within the country, which will lead to jobs and a lot of manufacturing facilities coming up in India. Then farmers also gaining from it. So creates a full value chain.